Hello, my name is Sienna Nash, and this is my synthesis presentation on the novel The Shallows: What the Internet is Doing to Our Brains by Nicholas Carr. The quote I use for this essay is, "For the exception of alphabets and number systems, the net may well be the most single powerful, mind-altering technology that has ever come to general use. At the very least, it's the most powerful that has come along since the book." And this is from What the Internet is Doing to Our Brains, page 118. My thesis statement is, the net has become a very influential source of communication for the world through means of a rapid source of information, a global system of world communication sharing, and a vast source of conversation about topics. First, the net provides rapid sources of information, but sometimes that is not such a good thing. As Carr states, the net's interactivity gives us powerful new tools about finding information, expressing ourselves, conserving with others. It also turns us into lab rats, constantly pressing levers to get tiny pellets of social or intellectual nourishment. And that is from page 117 of What the Internet is Doing to Our Brains. And Carr is stating, Carr does not support a digital sheltered lifestyle with internet control. Carr rather encourages us to determine what the true cost of the benefits that are offered by relying on the internet. He explains that we need to ration our time between the internet and reading a book or two. Secondly, the internet also allows us with a global system of sharing. There are many ways for us to connect with the world, but the most common sources are social media, the news, and trading. Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, and many other social media platforms help us connect to family and friends. Google is also a platform that allows us to connect to news that's around the world. Carr states that Google is neither God nor Satan, and if there are shadows in the Googleplex, they're no more than delusions of grandeur. What's disturbing about the company's founders is not their boyish desire to create an amazingly cool machine that will be able to outthink its creators, but the pinched conception of the human mind that gives rise to such desire. And that's on page 176. In short, Carr is explaining that Google is not something to rely on. Google does want to make money, but the only way for them to make money is to please their users. They continue to improvise themselves. They do this by updating and changing their website frequently. Also, most things on social media and the news are not true either. So we tend to witness what is called fake news. Finally, the internet also gives us sources of conversation about subjects. Carr states, the words in books didn't just strengthen people's ability to think abstractly. They enrich people's experience of the physical world, the world outside the book. And this is from page 75. All in all, Carr is explaining that other than getting the book's point of view on the story, we also have sources on the internet with their options and views on the story. One of the most important lessons we have learned from the study of neuroplasticity is that the mental capabilities, the very neural circuits we develop from one purpose, can be put into other uses as well. As our ancestors filled their minds with the discipline to follow a line of argument or narrative through a succession of the printed pages that became more thoughtful, reflective, and imaginative. And this is from Blog. My conclusion is, Carr makes a convincing case that every information technology carries an intellectual ethic, which is a set of assumptions about the nature of knowledge and intelligence. He explains how the printed books serve to focus our attention, promoting deep and creative thought. It has become a source of global communication, information sharing, and conversation. And this is my bibliography. As you see, I use The Shallows: What the Internet is Doing to Our Brains, and also my internet source, and I also talk about Nicholas Carr in my next slide. And here is a little bit about Nicholas Carr. He is an acclaimed writer on technology and culture whose books have been translated into more than 25 languages. He has been appointed Richmond Visiting Professor at Williams College for 2019. Carr's 2010 book, The Shallows, What the Internet is Doing to Our Brains, was a Pulitzer Prize finalist and a New York Times bestseller. Now held as a, quote, a modern classic, quote, The Shallows continue to be a touchstone for debates on technology's effects on our thoughts and perceptions. His 2014 book, The Glass Cage, Automation in Us, which the New York Review of Books called a chastening meditation on the human future, examines the personal and social consequences of our ever-growing dependency on computers, robots, and apps, much like what the internet is doing to our brains. His latest book, Utopia is Creepy, published in 2016, collects his best essays, blog posts, and other writings from the past dozen years. The collection is by turns weary and evolutionary, wrote Discover.